Morning, everybody. It is 8:12 a.m. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday was pretty much a very small inside day in the markets, range bound. Internals showed this, and internals are always going to show you what the market could do. Market can't outperform internals. Okay, that's my market internals. We'll do that recap in a little bit. There was a cabinet meeting held yesterday, and Trump mentioned more tariffs, specifically copper. That was something new, up to 50% on copper. We're a large importer of copper, so copper went, I think, up to 10% or something like that. So that was what was going on yesterday. Like I said, we just were stuck in this range yesterday, this little baby range inside the prior day's range. So not much to see there. I had a couple trades, couple longs, and the first one I took some scales out and then got tapped break even. Was about to enter again. When I entered again, no, when I didn't enter again, that's actually when the big move happened, and I wasn't able to take advantage of that. I was getting ready to trigger it, and I just didn't trigger that. And I did put a post yesterday about the gamma flip points. That happened to be support all day, so that's how important those gamma flip points are. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile to find structure in the markets, along supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, and most share price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That is what helps me come up with game plans off these levels. Okay. I also use anchored VWAPs and market internals. Okay. So hopefully you guys can subscribe, set an alert. I do this every morning. Give you the market story, right? Leaders and laggers, economic news, the economic calendar, and just why stuff's moving, why it's doing it, and stick with me. All right, stick with me. Even if you don't trade, I think there's value in this for the first 15-20 minutes, and then TA happens and probably goes over most people's heads. However, I hope to get those people involved in TA as well. All right. Now, not yesterday. If you want to see my live commentary, which I believe are golden nuggets, okay, please join my Discord. All right. That would be Confluence Trading. All right. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up, and join the community. Okay. Quick preview here. This is my live market updates. Yesterday, I'm giving golden nuggets all day. All right, there's that gamma flip point right there, 620 in the SPY, right? So I just point out a lot of things, internals, why we're not moving. All right, so please sign up. All right, and now I think we are ready to move on to the futures watch list. All right, last time I looked, there wasn't much going on here, but we'll look at it here together. Looks like Bitcoin, I don't know why there's some error with this percentage gains for some reason in Bitcoin up here, but it's up. Okay, I'm not sure if that's all-time highs, but it's up. Ethereum up 1.72, crude up 0.29, the Dow's up 0.27, ES up 0.23, Nasdaq up 0.20, Russell's up 0.16, the dollar's up 0.14, 10-year yield's flat, 30-year bonds are flat. Silver basically flat, down 0.11, gold down 0.48, VIX down 3.57 out of 16 VIX. Okay, 16 VIX. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus here. Let's see who's leading the pack here. That would be your GE. Your GE. All right, that's one of your largest holdings in the industrial sector. All right. Let's look at what's JP Morgan had quite the sell-off yesterday. It's bouncing. It's up 1%, blowing up to 9.94. Microsoft up 0.70. AMD up 0.64. Coinbase up 0.64. Nvidia's up 0.45, Amazon up 0.40. Now Amazon took quite a beating yesterday. The news was that Amazon had 14% less. I don't know what you call it. I don't know why my mind's not. I put it in the. Hold on a second. I put it in my Discord yesterday. All right. Amazon spending on Prime Day down 14% compared to last year. That's Amazon just started tanking after that. Eli Lilly really had a nice open, smashed up, but then President Trump started talking about tariffs on pharmaceuticals. That sent Lilly down. Okay. Google also was ripping lower, hit last week's lows at 173.53. 175 is a big level on Google. Okay. It's a big gamma level. So that's also the expected move lower for this week. So I'm really eyeing possibly doing something in Google, kind of like the chart. Have to see though, right? Meta's up 0.28, Berkshire Hathaway up 0.11. I did start a swing long in Berkshire Hathaway. Okay. Apple is flat. Apple is flat. One of my good friends asked me, what do I think about Apple? I did a nice little markup in my Discord here, right here in the community chat. She asked me what I thought. I gave a detailed analysis of what I thought, basically saying that hit a key resistance, had a range gap fill right here. Anchor VWAP from 2025 is a typo, it says 2024. Key resistance 215, 100-minute moving averages in its way. It has pulled back, right, which is nice, but that's that range gap fill. And my dialogue here. So if anybody has a question on any stock, I will analyze it for you. Okay, join my Discord. Just give me a shout. I will analyze it for you. Now, I analyze based on probabilities, not on I'm right or I'm wrong. You know, Apple could shoot through the roof with a news catalyst. I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to rest a little bit after it just had a breakout and hit a key resistance and a range gap fill. And now you're underneath the 2025 anchor VWAP and 100-day moving average. So it's got like a wall above it now. Like I said, it could move higher. Just the probability is probably lower in a bigger move. But anything can happen. All right, anything can happen. Now, going back, we're going to let's look at the top sector stocks. That's a list I don't show all the time. But let's see, CAT is up 1.19%. Morgan Stanley's up 0.90. All right, lagger is United Healthcare. United Healthcare just can't seem to catch a bid here. All right, moving on to sectors. Leading the pack is semis. Usually a risk-on indicator. Up 0.36, financials up 0.27, technology up 0.21, basic materials up 0.19, and a bunch of leaders, no laggards here. No laggards there. All right. Now, let's move on to economic calendar here. We don't have much today. We have mortgage came out. It went down only 0.2, 0.02 at 6.77. You have crude inventories at 10:30 and FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. I don't even plan to be trading for FOMC minutes. So that's that. As far as some stock news here, Starbucks rose 1.5. Their Bloomberg reported that the coffee chain's China business is attracting birds, valuing it up at 10 billion. Freeport McMoran. Obviously, this is a copper stock. Stock rose 2.1%, with the copper producer benefiting from President Donald Trump raising the prospect of 50% tariffs on imported copper. Let's see. T-Mobile stock fell 1.8% after KeyBank downgraded the telecom giant. Wynn Resort stock fell 1% after Citigroup downgraded its stance. What else? Sunrun stock rose 2.7% after Jefferies upgraded the battery energy storage provider to hold from underperform. All right. Let's go over to. I don't think the juice has anything for us today. No. I don't see much here today. Let's see if Trump's talking today. Let's see, the 9th. Trump, it says at noon, Trump lunch with African leaders. All right, there's not much there for us. Let's see if there's any upgrades, downgrades to speak of here. Upgrade cat. That looks like probably why cat's moving. Got an upgrade. Fox A underperformed to peer perform. Got an upgrade. Morgan Stanley. That's why that is up. Got an upgrade. Microsoft upgraded. Microsoft upgraded. PNC upgraded. Sunrun upgraded. Warner Music Group upgraded. Okay. Downgrades. We'll just look at them real quickly. For some reason, there's no downgrades here. I'm sure there is downgrades. Let's go to some more news here. Trump says steeper copper tariffs in the store as he broadens his trade war. Fed minutes likely to shine light on the divide over tariffs rates outlook. Google AI spending primarily on technical infrastructure. Merck to acquire Verona Pharma. Markets becoming desensitized to Trump's tariff shifts. Let's see here. Let's see if there's anything here. Just trying to see. All right, United Health Group. Investigators from the U.S. Department of Justice are questioning former employees of United Health Group over how the company deployed doctors and nurses to gather diagnoses that bolsters Medicare payments. The Wall Street Journal reported, citing people familiar with the matter. Interesting. That's probably why United Healthcare is down. All right, moving on. We could look at some breadth charts here. So we're back at 74% of stocks are over the 20-day moving average in the S&P 500. So we did move up to here. We kind of moved back a little bit. Still pretty good. Okay, still pretty good breadth indicator. The bullish percent index. Let's see here. I didn't want to do that. Let me do this. Hope that doesn't reset my settings. All right. Now, bullish percent index of the NYSE. It's at 64% of stocks are on buy signals. You can see the RSI here is a little overbought. Have to see here. Okay. Then we'll go to the S&P 500. This is just how much percent are on buy signals based on point and figure charts. 75% are on buy signals. We're starting to get some frothiness here on S&P 500. Let's look at that NASDAQ 100. That's at 78. Okay. And then we'll finish it off with the composite NASDAQ. It's about 3,000 stocks. That is not that strong. 58% on buy signal. Interesting. Right? All right. We can move on. I think we're going to go right into the market internals recap. A good old market internals recap. All right. So here's yesterday. Big divergence. Okay. And this white line on this chart, this is called the weighted AD. Okay. Now, you can see the sectors above. Each sector has a weight of how much market cap weight each sector has in the S&P 500. Okay, so you can see Infotech's 33%. It's just huge, right? Followed by financials, consumer discretionary, communications. Those are the top four. Then healthcare. Healthcare used to be actually number two, but it's slid. Okay, so you can see just in the top four, two were red. Financials, that was J.P. Morgan, down Goldman Sachs. Consumer discretionary, that was your Amazon yesterday. Okay. And then communications was even weak. That was your Google. So that was going to weigh down your markets. Okay. You can see here. All right. Just based off this, the beauty of this is I can look at this and go, okay, 2 out of the 4. That's going to cause some problems of the market going up. Right. But this graph puts all of those percentages in a histogram. So I don't have to look, oh, what's 2 out of 4? Nope. Just look at this. There's a zero line. And these bars represent market cap weight. Okay, the bars, market cap weight. That's how our market moves. It does not move just because the overall market is strong. All right, the heavier the market cap weight, the more those stocks are going to power the S&P 500. All right, so yesterday, look at this mess. Now the white line is equal weight, means that if all the stocks were equal, this is how the market would be doing. Notice the white line was way over the market cap weight. That just means the overall market was stronger than the market cap weight. Okay, this just means that the market's not probably going to move much higher because the market cap weight is weaker than the equal weight. And that's what we had yesterday. Okay, now these numbers down here represent overall market. They're all green, right? That even puts even more weight on this. That's why ticks as well. I don't have them up here. I actually can show you the ticks. These are the NYSE, the Nasdaq exchange tick and the NYSE tick. These were green almost all day. Okay, and that was why this overall market was green, right? And you can see Infotech. This is another caveat, right? It was like basically neutral, and that's 33%, right? So the market can't go down much if the Infotech is not very weak. Okay, that's why, like, if we went down, here's the SPX, there's that gamma flip point, it was going to be support it. Okay, market needs to be weaker to go down. All right, that's your market internals recap. Okay, and like I said, if you join my Discord, okay, if you join my Discord, I just want to show you something really quickly. Whoever's paying attention or with me right now, if you go to my Discord and you go to the education and market internals, I have a link here that I explain that window in detail. Go join my Discord, go to the market internals, education market internals, okay, and you will see a video, and I go over in detail what everything means on that internals window. All right. All right, moving on to daily charts. And you can see we're doing a whole lot of nothing here. Now this is summer trading, okay, and we get some sparks of volatility from Trump. All right, so if we zoom in here, right, we zoom in here. All right, this was the day before we went to July 4th, and we've had lower high, right? And yesterday was basically unchanged. We closed part of here, we closed it here. Okay, but we held last month's highs. And we basically have like a little wedge forming here. Okay, you can see lower highs, higher lows, and we're forming a wedge. So a whole lot of nothing going on. Okay, so but we close at 60.20.34. We are at almost 622 right now. So we are right here. We're close to yesterday's highs right now. Now remember, semis are positive, financials, technology are all positive this morning. Okay, let's look at futures, get a better look at what we're looking at here. And you can see there's last month's highs. We're starting to balance out here, have this little range here forming in futures. Okay, so higher low, higher low, higher low. Okay, we're starting to form some balance range. So obviously this is bullish. Okay, this is bullish, and July is generally bullish. All right, let's look at Qs. So Qs, higher low, pretty much closed with the prior today. A little higher than the prior day. Inside day, I should have said that too. Inside day. Okay, so a whole lot of nothing. That's last month's highs. We closed below it. In the middle of last week's range. Okay, where are we at now? 553.50, 553.50, 553.50. We're above yesterday's open, near the highs. Okay, let's look at the Qs in the futures. All right, balance range 2 is just starting this larger balance range. Okay, We're inside last week's. The orange lines are last week's range. We're in the middle of it. So you're in the middle of this day. This is in the middle of this day. We're going to break out of this, or at least go to the edge. Okay, but we're going to make a move soon to one of these edges and see if there's a breakout or we have a new balance range forming. Right? Moving on to your triple headed monster, and that's going to start off with our 10-year yield. All right? 10-year yield's been really pushing higher. Look at that. Now, I said this is a poor structure here. This should be symmetrical, and it has. I would think we're going to slow down here. See all this congestion here? That's your 2025 anchored VWAP. I would think, and we're above last week's range now. This is just horrible. The bond market keeps going in this range. All right, even if you wanted to put a pattern on this thing and really start from here, right? From this low, you can see it's just this big wedge, right? It's just not something. It's just in the middle of the muddle, right? It just continues to just not. It's just in the middle, okay? The dollar, remember I keep talking about that bounce, right? Well, we're moving up here slowly. Okay, we're hitting the 20-day simple moving average. We're above last week's range now. So, interesting. That should mean the euro should be falling. So now we'll look at the VIX. That's 30 days out. And we're at a 16 VIX. Okay, you can see here right here we're hitting last month's lows, last week's lows. Okay, pretty good support here at 16. That's what we're hitting right now. Okay, moving on. Look at the hourly charts here. There's not much to see here. I'm not going to go that much in depth with it, but here's your hourly charts. All right, and you can see here clearly, there's like the wedge I was talking about right here. It makes sense. Usually when you do this, it points to the most traded price, right? So I don't really need to have this on here. All right, so let me get my trusty marker out. All right, so big level here, 62.71. That's your most traded price of the week. Oh, you have ultimate balance here, actually. Ultimate balance, okay? That's when the most traded price of the week and the month are equal. Okay, that's when the most traded price of the week and the month are equal. You can see the peak here. Okay, action happens to be the most traded price of yesterday. And what usually generally happens is you eventually move away from it. Okay, either this way or this way. Currently, we're moving up, right? And you have resistance right here. What's going to happen when this resistance and this trend line hits? Don't know. Could roll over back to balance and test this support. Okay. Now these anchored VWAPs have been acting as support here. Here's your month-to-date anchored VWAP. Here's your week-to-date anchored VWAP, and here's a VWAP, anchored VWAP from this candle here. Okay. So as long as the market stays above the ultimate balance level of 62.70, it's bullish. Okay. And you can see the market has been putting in higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, but we also have been putting in lower highs, hence the wedge, right? So that's what I'm looking at in the ES. Okay, so pretty simple to analyze. Okay, moving on to the Qs. Okay, Qs have that wedge clearly there. Had a bunch of tries up here. Now technically you have broken this little downtrend, but there's so much overhead supply here. Okay, there's so much overhead supply. I'm actually going to get rid of this supply zone here. Okay. All right. So we don't have ultimate balance. We're close to it. Big level here is 229.06 about. That's your most traded price of yesterday and of the week. Look at that as well. Stay above it is bullish. Let's say we come back, retest this level, hold. You can maybe go up. Okay, below it, you do have the most traded price of the month. That's your 22830. That's your ultimate bull bear line in the NASDAQ. You lose that, there's not much volume you can see here in the profile and single prints, and you can really go down. Okay, but you need to lose. There's a lot to lose here. Okay, that's basically, and this is last month's highs, right where the market is right now. Last month's highs. Okay, you want to look at the weeks. That's last week's highs, last week's lows, all the way down here. Look at that. We're in the middle, right? Not the best trade location. All right, not the best trade location. All right, I think we're good here. That's your 1 hour chart analysis. Okay, now we can move on to market profile and volume profile in detail. A little more zoomed in view here. And we're going to have very important levels to key from today. This is your market profile and your volume profile analysis. All right, we're going to change this over to white. We're going to, I could probably maximize this a little bit here. All right, so let's look at a profile. And now a profile is giving us, we have excess to the top, we have our value area, then we have excess to the bottom. It's looking balanced to me. Okay, so that's telling me we're in balance, right? Hence the wedge, right? But if you just a profile guy, this tells me, oh, okay, balance automatically is painted on my chart. Great. Automatically gives me this level of 6271, call it 6270. That's our ultimate balance. Remember, big level here. Okay, big level. And we're having a huge level here. Okay, so just to recap yesterday, that's the movement. It was pretty much a range day. You have a weak high here, not a lot of excess, right? And the market opened, and it just did that, and just couldn't move out of its way. Okay. Now, very clearly, this 62.89, because there is a supply right here in the resistance with this red line. Right here is a very key level, 62.89. Right? Look once, twice, 3 times. Okay? 3 sessions. Now to the lows. Right? We have 62 to 66, 62.60. Right here. So it's again, we have pretty much equivalent overnight session to the RTH session of yesterday. That's the key levels, right? Really want to be active right there. Okay. Now, we also have to use our demand zone here with that ultimate balance level. Now, big moves happen from ultimate balance. Picture it as a spring that's coiling, 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 and coiling, gaining energy and ready to expand. Okay? Ready to expand, right? So, we're going to mark off, I believe that's Monday's highs in the supply zone. Okay, you have a poor low here from Monday and the end of this demand. Okay, now we're marked off and we're going to split out this session so we can see the price action. All right, and we're going to start doing scenarios here. We're going to start with the bull side. All right, price is here. Let me scroll this back here. Price is here, okay? Right at value area high of this composite profile. So, a couple things can happen here. Now, we know we have resistance here, right? This is what I would love to happen, okay? I would love us to tap that, okay? Reject, come down here to this monster open ultimate balance, okay? Yesterday's most traded price, the most traded price of the week and the month, okay? Test this, make some lower highs, and then that's the move where you really bust out of the 6290, go up to the 6300 supply, and then anything up above this is gravy. Maybe go up to the 6315. That is like the ultimate for me. Okay? Second one would be this. You break out of this supply. The supply, okay, of this resistance. You tap this supply. You find resistance. And then you start to move back, retest that level, and then go higher. This could be in the cards if the market's super strong. Okay. This, I would rather have this one. Okay. Now, below this level doesn't mean it's all out bearish. It just means that it's a feather in the cap for the bears below the 62.72 ultimate balance level. Okay. It doesn't mean we can't do one of these quick. This has to be quick and reclaim this level. That's also a long. But anything below here, the market's going to be weak. Okay. Now, what could happen? We could drop all the way down to this support here at around, what is it, 62.35 probably. And then, yeah, we could bounce, but this is going to be a weak bounce probably. But the main ones are up here. Okay. So that's the bull side. Now, as far as the bear side, what could we see happen? Now, remember, inverse of this, I could see this, boom. Market opens, breaks that level, rejects, comes through that open, you get some lower highs here, and then you can take off this and take some profits here. Now, you have to rip through this big level and really start to cook, but there's a lot of demand there. This would not be easy. But below this level and breaking this level around the 62.60 level, you probably can start to make your way down. Okay. Now, if we happen to be up in this supply, and we say we do this, I don't know how happy I'm going to be to take a short here. It depends on the market internals. Now, if the market internals are showing me we're in parity, which means there's no strength or weakness, I'd be more apt to maybe try the short here to go back to balance. Okay. All right. That's the TA for the ES. Now, if we're going to look at the NASDAQ, let's look at this picture here. The NASDAQ is picture perfect balance. Look at the profile. Okay, I'm going to expand this. Okay, look at this profile. Okay, and this is what's the beauty about market profile is, yes, you could see this even with the sessions, but if I just want the easiest thing in the world to look at, oh, all right, we got excess up to here. We have a value area. Then we have excess to the bottom. That is a picture perfect distribution. That tells you the market is complete. It's a complete auction with even distribution. Okay? Balance. Balance. Okay? That being said, we also have some big levels here. It's the same, which is nice. Is you have this overnight session replicating our RTH session from yesterday. So 22962 in the NASDAQ. All right. I would say this area, right? 22972, 22978, right here. With a supply zone there. Okay. Price is right at the overnight highs right now. Okay. Down to the downside. Look at this. Perfect confluence low here. The 22843, you have the RTH low, yesterday's low, and the overnight lows are equal with the month-to-date anchor VWAP right here. Okay, so you have a big demand zone here. All right, so this area encompasses a lot. Okay, you have that 22830, which is your most traded price of the month, right here. You can see the spike here. Okay, this is the area. Okay, and then you have the most traded price of the week right here, and yesterday, with the demand zone right here. Okay, so let's back this up a little bit and expand this to see the price action. All right, and let's see what transpires here. Okay, all right, we're going to do scenarios now. Okay, this is our price action from the overnight. You can see we opened up, we dipped down to the month-to-date anchored VWAP, this monster level, and now we've getting bought up. Getting bought up. Okay, so we're already in supply. We're almost at the RTH. Okay, same scenario here. This is what I would like to see. A failure here. Pull back to yesterday's most traded price. Okay, you can see the resistance was here, turned into support. So I would like a retest of this level, then some lower highs. Higher lows. And try to take out this big 22962 level. You got supply here. This ain't going to be easy. But once you break this 22978 area, you got multiple supply zones here. So this will not be easy. This might be a melt up. Okay. Same stuff as ES, right? Now, you have a lot of overhead supply here. Look at these highs. 1, 2, 3. That needs some volume, some strength in the market to take those out. Okay, that will not be easy. If the market's mixed again, it's going to be not easy. All right, but if the market's pretty good and strong, we could also get one of these, boom, and a pullback to this level, and then you take off. Okay, inside here is a chop zone. That's chop city. In between the most traded price of the week and the month, you're asking to get chopped up. Okay, so if we did pull back into this area, I'm probably not going to touch anything inside this area unless it acts with this level. And you might get a bear trap here. You might get one of these, recover the level, and then maybe target here. Okay, that's about all for the long side here. Below this is no good. You have poor structure. Okay, you got single prints here. Okay, in a weak market, those get ripped right through. All right. Now we're going to go to the bear side. Okay, it's very similar. What I like is it's similar to the ES. Very similar. I like that it's this the setups are similar. Okay. So short side, what can we look for? Push up into supply, get to this edge here, fail, make some lower highs here, and you test this most traded price, right? I would scale out here a little bit and see if you can get some gravy. When you rip through that, this is where you can take out this liquidity here and really test that big level. And I would probably take some more off here. Okay, the question is can you find acceptance below 22830? If you find acceptance and the market is weakening, then that's when you rip through these single prints. Okay, that's poor structure, poor foundation. Here is the single prints. That's emotional buying on that day. That's weak structure. Okay, that's when I bring up my boy, my elephant on the stick here, on the toothpick. Generally, the market, if you look at this as the toothpick, right? Say this is the toothpick, and all this price action is the elephant. That's what's holding up that market. Now, you can look at it both ways. Okay, so that's scenarios. All right, so I'm going to take all this off and I'm going to show you why you can look at it both ways. These single prints here have not been tested. Okay, and I want to just say if they do get tested and they're supportive, that is bullish. Okay, but in a weaker market, okay, let me just explain how this works, okay, and why single prints are important and why I put them on my charts, okay. Whenever you have emotional buying, just one-way traffic, right, there's not much support or resistance here. Okay, you have to think of that. There's not support or resistance in these areas. It's just the price went straight through it. And if you think about it, when people trade, they usually put stops or they have something where, support or resistance, right? Well, if the market's weak and we start to fall, there's not going to be there's not support or resistance here. It just could get cut through. There's not consolidation here. Like the price didn't do this in this area. In this area, it just went like this, up. So when it goes up symmetrically, you can go right back down just same. Okay? But if it's supportive, it's bullish. So you look at it like a measuring stick, right? If a weak market is present, you just go like this. You'd see price actions. You hold, and do this. Rip. Okay? That's single prints. That's a market profile jargon. All right? That is it for today. Please smash that like button if you enjoyed that analysis. All right? As always, hopefully you join me every morning. Give you that market story. Give you that TA. Okay? Give you that technical analysis. And I just gave you trade plans for today. Today's pretty simple. It's just now, will the market internals guide me? Will they guide me to follow one of these plans? Hope they do, right? Right now, semis are the leader. That's generally a risk on, okay? But that could change when the market opens, all right? Now, once the market opens, I lean heavily on my market internals to see what the market's capable of. And I don't know what I would do. I feel like I'll be blind without that because it's like, that tells me you're not breaking out today. We're not going to have a large range. Or, boy, this could be big. The market's super strong. And then I could look for a pullback to go long or short. Or strong or weak and then go long or short. All right? So if you want some of that inside knowledge, I would say use me as an indicator. You don't have to trade like me. Use me as your indicator with my commentary, right? And you can join my Discord, Confluence Trading, all right? Let me be your indicator. You don't have to trade like me, okay? But you can use my analysis, especially when the market opens, right? Like around, let's see, I like to go to 15 minutes in, and then I give you what I see, all right? So yesterday, I put tick strong so far, internals over zero. However, equal weight is stronger than market cap. This is due to XLK and XLC being weaker off the open. ES came into demand and into key level 62.75, just watching here, right? So I give you the ticks, what they're looking at. You just want to see green holding over zero. That's as simple as it gets. Red holding under zero is weak. Pretty simple. Then we go to the internal window, right? Market cap weight is the bars, equal weight is the white line, and there's how the sectors are looking. Okay, and then I give you the sectors and the percent from the open where they're at. Okay, I give you that when I'm reading the markets. Okay, and then I give you more commentary as the day transpires. Right, different levels to look at. I'm telling you, you know, where the market should stop. Okay, and then trades, what trades I put on. So again, hopefully you can join. And again, that's Discord. My Discord is Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link. Check me out. Maybe I'll go live today. If I get some new people in here, I'll go live. And as well, if anybody like here in the community chat wants a stock analyzed, I'll do it, right? Or if you want gamma levels for a stock, I will give you that as well. And I can do a whole thing on gamma levels one day as well. All right. So a lot of info there. Use me as a resource. All right. Now we have our plan today. Okay. We have a plan. I think it's pretty simple. All right. Remember, no trade's a trade. And use me as your indicator. Again, if I don't see you guys in my Discord today, I'll see you tomorrow morning. All right, everybody. Take it easy.